I don't know. Sometimes that's a sign of something to come.
Someone keeps saying they see hidden bullish divergence on the channel.
Hidden what?
Hidden bullish divergence on the channel,
What are bullish diversions?
Hidden bullish divergence, like, where you like, your bullish divergences? I
I
thought
know
you'd
a
be like,
virgin. I know what a virgin is, and I know what hidden means, but that word in the middle, I have no idea what that is.
divergence?
Oh, divergence.
Yeah,
Excuse
you
me.
know that.
I
Yeah.
heard virgins, like as in young, young nubile.
Great way to start the chat. Great way to start the live chat.
Are
Shout
we
out to everyone
live?
here on the, yeah, we're live. We're live. Shout out to everyone here on the
Awesome.
live stream. Thank you for coming on in. This morning we're here with the awesome Crypto Love. Got me basically, helped me get where I am. I have to keep bringing it up. Showed me Cardano at 2 cents. Broke down ecosystems. Didn't just throw, shill coins at me. Whenever I went to his channel, I learned something. And I would then go on. He would put just enough in my mind too. He wouldn't fill out all the answers for me. It's almost like he made me go and like research enough. He'd give me like the 6 points, and then I'd be like, oh man, now I have to really find out what he's talking about. So it was like a really good way to segue me into things. And that's why I just, for the rest of my YouTube career and my life, I just love to pay homage and gratitude towards him, and I'll let people know who he is on my channel. So, Crypto Love, man.
Yeah, dude. Crypto life right back at you. You're doing the hard work. I mean, and also you were the guy who emailed me first, and you were like, "Let's do a collab," and I was like, "Okay, let's do a collab." So, you're doing the hard work, and plus, you're making the important calls recently, calling the bottom over and over again. So, yeah, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, as they say.
Yeah. Can I just want to let me see something here. I think about you a lot when I'm looking at the calls that I'm making. No, I do, because
Okay.
I'm
At
like,
least you said when I'm thinking about the calls, not like I'm thinking about you a lot when I'm in bed at night.
when I'm putting on my pajamas.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to see something. Oh yeah. So yeah. Okay. So here, that's what I can do. Okay. So every once in a while, I can put the chart just in front of us for a second, if it's all right. Even though
Yeah.
that's not what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do this because I wanted to show you. This is why I think about you when I do this, because you've taught me a lot about simplicity. Wasn't that like one of the main things people brought up in our last live stream? You said something about like simple is genius, or maybe not exactly like that, but you just, you kind of like, you hit on this idea, right? You might say it better now, but
yeah, when something is simple, and when it looks smooth and simple and easy, that requires a lot of work to get to that point. Like you think about things like what Steve Jobs did with Apple and creating the iPhone and everything. It's like simple. They don't even need they don't ship instructions with their things anymore because it's intuitive. But all of the work that goes into that, there's a lot.
yeah. So there was a lot of confusion in the market, okay? And even watching your channel, if you watch Crypto Love enough, you're going to know what the 618 is. He's going to show you. Like one day he'll be doing something, and I'm sure one day when I wasn't even that deep into TA, he showed me. And like, look at this Gala trade right here. This is a Gala trade. Yeah, put it over. I could put it over me, which is kind of cool. But this Gala trade, it made a falling wedge. Where did it go? And I had the 706. It's kind of like this little secret fib that tends to work here. But it went a little past the 0.618 and the 0.65 golden pocket, and then it would break to the upside. And so I accumulated down here. I actually sold all my Litecoin for this coin. I sold all my Litecoin for Gala because I think it's highly likely Gala will go up to 60 cents or 50 cents before Litecoin will go up to $700 and $800. That's just my opinion. I can always go buy back my Litecoin again. I think Gala will be a Litecoin farm if that's the case. So again, not financial advice. But, and I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I do and say here is financial advice. Nothing we say here is financial advice. Neither of us are financial advisors.
But if you want financial advice, you can go to your bank and they can sell you a
0.00001%.
A high interest savings account where you get 0.00001% interest, which means in 10,000 lifetimes it'll actually double in value.
which means like Gary Gensler tells you to save $5 a week. Can you believe that?
Yeah, right.
So I just wanted to talk about the golden pocket. All right. And that's like once, you begin to trade 2-3 years, but by your 4th or 5th year trading, you should be like the golden pocket should be hammered in. Just go watch Carl the Moon. Watch any YouTuber for a couple years. Stay around. You're going to know what the golden pocket is, right? So I thought this was pretty uncanny that I'm on YouTube with all these gurus and barely anybody mentions the basics. So I'm watching Bitcoin on the weekly, all right? I'm by my little old self in my little old basement, in my mom's basement, like the government, the crypto traders in their mom's basement.
You and me both, man.
With all our Star Wars gear. So, or our Legos. So, look at this. This is swing up to swing up, okay? This is swing down to swing down. That's what's called hidden bullish divergence. And it tells you that the trend will continue to the upside. So that was number one for me. And I trade on this like religiously now. Like this is something, my mentor, when he first showed me this, he goes, I trade on this blind 90% of the time. And I looked at him like, are you mad? Like you trade on a blind? And over the course of your time, if you've been trading for over 5 to 6, 7, 8, even 10 years, you'll see this many times. Like I have longed hidden bullish divergence. I don't know. I've saved more than 500 times in my life because I've longed it on smaller entries on the 7-minute. I've longed it on the weekly. I've longed it on the daily. And that's the other cool thing. As you become a long-term trader, you use more time frames more often. Like when you're a beginning trader, like you're so new into the market, you probably just use the 1 hour a lot. But when you keep trading, like you get into the weekly. I'm in the weekly more than I ever would have thought because you've been in the game longer. And time isn't as, like you actually expand your concept of time in the market. So I saw this was a hidden bullish divergence. I then pulled a Fibonacci from this impulse to this impulse. And look, it went exactly to the golden pocket 3 times. And I said, that's not a coincidence. That's institutional footprints. And I longed it. I longed it right there. And I made a video. I said 3 reasons why I think that's the bottom. And I didn't draw 100 Elliott waves. I didn't, I see these people who spend 10 hours. I just looked at 2 basic things that I knew to be true. And I said, if I stop using my emotions and I go with pure logic here, this is something that I know has occurred many times. And it's something that I've done in my life and it's played out. So I couldn't wait to kind of talk about this with you because I thought you would appreciate it. And I think you might have been one of the first people to show me the golden pocket, really, or even draw a fib because, you may not go deep into analyzing as much as I do, but sometimes you actually do, though. And that's what I love about your video. You sprinkle the knowledge. You don't overwhelm, but you also show you have a meta sense, and you're kind of above the mass data. And you always seem to kind of be poignant about what you talk about, What did you see? What have you been looking at?
Well, I've been looking at basically there's a huge wedge forming in the Bitcoin price from the COVID bottom back in March of 2021. I think it touched again a few months back. And then from the top, so there's a big wedge that's going to break out by about November 15th. We just bounced off of the bottom of that wedge, also the 111-day moving average.
Is it a bugle mean? You're talking about an opening bugle? Is that like...
No. Well, yeah, from the side.
Oh, no, yeah. I've been drawing, exactly. I've been drawing this, like it's almost the bullpen. To me, it looks like a pretty, but it says we could go back down to what, like, let me see here.
Well, this one's actually really tight. The bottom right now is about 40, 41. The top is about 50. Right now, it's really tight. If you take the top from 65 and the top at 50 and draw that as the top of the wedge, then the bottom, I think it was all the way back down to 3,000 or wherever it was during COVID. And
I see what you're saying. I got it. I'll draw this something like this.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
And so it's getting really tight. And
Totally.
And then also when it just broke through the RSI. So like using the RSI, drawing some lines like when it's heading down, and then once it breaks through there, generally we have a bit of a pump. That was momentum. A good idea for the $30,000 low. But I mean, but to be honest, I'll be honest right now, even though everything fundamentally looks amazing for Bitcoin, I'm just worried in like an even grander scale of everything that's going on. Like there is some serious craziness going on in financial markets all across the world.
Well, there's also an energy crisis. People don't realize, and it's not conspiracy theory at this point. We may have to revert to coal this winter. Many other, Europe, the petroleum, right? Like,
however, we can continue mining Bitcoin with volcanoes because Bukele just did that in El Salvador. So everything else may, go lights out, but we can continue mining Bitcoin.
yeah, it's 1999 super chat. So awesome to have this dynamic duo together. Thank you so much for the super chat. Much love and respect. Appreciate that. Dingo.
Yo, man. I want $10 of that.
Yeah. Wait, no, YouTube takes the cut first. Then you can take your guy. Yeah. And then I can take my cut. And then I can give the cut to the government after I get that. So after that gets chopped out, I'll be left with, let's see, about $3.50.
A nickel.
About $3.50. Yeah, no. It's really about $4, $5. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. But thank you so much for the love. Appreciate it. Yeah, so
thank you.
Were you looking at the Puel multiple too, the pull multiple?
Yeah, dude, I love that. So one of the sites that I use regularly is cbbi.info, the Colin Talks Bitcoin Bull Run Index.
cbbi.info. Place that I never
really
got.
Great, because he takes a look at 11 metrics that all predict the top, and so based on that, he has a very accurate way of predicting the top. And then also the pi cycle top, I think that's really accurate for predicting tops. As for bottoms, you just kind of have to, I don't have a perfect indicator for the bottom yet, but it's just something that
I got an instinct. I got a feeling, I don't use the word I think when I trade. Whenever I watch a YouTuber be like, I think, it's like, I try not to use that word. It's, to me, my two mentors taught me that I think is the worst word a trader can use in your life. Like, they were like, get it out of your category. But everyone's like, oh, but you're a creative thinker. And it's like, you open your mind and you use your mind, and yes, you think. But like for instance, I longed Bitcoin 2 nights ago. I put a video out literally a few minutes after I did it. I nailed 41,000 on the dot, right? How? Again, it goes back to the basic things that what I learned is if you just keep doing the basic things, you become a horse with blinders on. And it becomes harder for you to get manipulated by the market maker because you're stuck in this, you're like a little groundhog that just like keeps digging. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not as like worried, I'm okay with getting stopped out. My system, I can get stopped out 7 out of 10 times and still remain profitable. So it's okay if I get stopped out. I've planned that, I'm like, okay. It's funny. And I really do believe in God. And last night, why I never watch football. I honestly don't. I do the market too much. But after, I try to do some mindless thing for at least a half an hour after, all the stuff I do for the trading group and everything. And so last night, I think I caught the last 4 minutes of the game. I saw at least I think the Jaguars, the Cincinnati Bengals, and I fell asleep on the couch. I wake up, it must be 2:15 in the morning, 3 in the morning, right? This is last night. And I'm like, I left my computer on. And I'm like, I got to shut it down. And I'm like, nah, but I gotta do a post for my Patreon. So I was like, if I'm awake, and the market's around, I gotta look at it. So lo and behold, I swear, God bless me because I put in that extra little effort and didn't just go back to bed. I made a video update for my Patreons, and the video update I made, I started looking at it, and I saw the pennant. Like, look, so. Last night, I'm sitting here, and I know this is a rising wedge. Rising wedges break up, parabolic, right? We know 68% of the time they break down. But if they can break up, they break up parabolically. Another thing I'm starting to see are inverted head and shoulders are hidden in so many different ways, and they play out regardless. And like, look, this was a shoulder. There was a giant head there, and that was a right shoulder. And you could take the length of the pole from the right shoulder, and you take the longer length there and swing that. And that's going to, like, watch this. This is probably going to be pretty spot on to, like, where we ended up. And it's pretty insane how the TA will always find a way. And you can always find it there, even if you missed it to begin with. What I originally saw, though, was I'm looking at this. And then I saw that, and number one, I'm in this bigger, I track Bitcoin very well. I'm constantly projecting. I have a projection theory that once the stochastics get high, I begin a new projection. Because I've learned that once the stochastics on the 1 hour are high, the price doesn't go up anymore. I do believe it could. So I keep these things. I say there's 3 scenarios. The price could keep going up, the price can go sideways, or it can come down. Every time it has to touch the 21-day moving average. And I backtest this and prove this. Right there touches the 21, touches the 21. And you'll find, so the easiest way to take profits is high stochastics when you're away from the 21. What's going to happen is the price is now going to have to make a falling wedge or a bull pennant and touch the 21 moving average before it can go up again. And I know this to be true because I've backtested it. So now I already know the trade before the trade happens. I am 5 hours to 10, 12 hours ahead of the trade. I then set an alert at the bottom of the stochastics, and I wait for the stochastics alert to hit. When that hits, usually the pattern is fully blown. I then switch back to the 15-minute and enter when the 15-minute stochastics are low in conjunction with the 1 hour stochastics. Nail it. And I've been doing this now for the last 6 months, and I've been tracking Bitcoin accurately over and over again because I don't make the trade until the trade plays out the way it's supposed to. I actually map out the trade. Look at this. This is the trade now for Bitcoin. If this plays out probably 8 hours from now. If Bitcoin can stay in this wedge, then it's bullish. If it comes back down to support, so it's going to do 2 things. Bounce off support, stay in the wedge. And then it's going to bounce off support, give it all away, and go bearish and start breaking at you, right? Or it's going to stay in this wedge and go bullish. And I've learned that if the stochastics can reset and you can stay in a wedge or a pennant, highly likely to be bullish. They still do this, though. I've seen them do this. They wedge it right here, and then what they'll do is they'll bring the stochastics back up, not give you a lot, and then Bart Simpson. But the thing is, we know how to catch the Bart Simpsons now because we know when the stochastics go up and we don't get the move to the upside, that's hidden bearish because that's energy that's hidden on the other side. So I've learned that you can find hidden energy inside the stochastics by projecting into the future, and then when you see that that energy isn't released, you can figure out where it's going to go. And I'm telling you right now, it's been a deadly accurate way to trade. And this is how I caught Bitcoin last night. 3 a.m. I wake up and I say, guys, I put a post to everyone. I said, it's really bullish, looking to break out. I saw that the 1 hour stochastics were low, and I did a video update for everyone here at 2:57 a.m. And I basically say, this is about to blow. And I saw it peaking, and then I drew this pennant, and I said, this is going. And I said, target for this is about 46,500. So, and we went past the target, but so 2 days ago nailed 41,000 off of bullish divergence out of a falling wedge that broke out. Last night hit the same. And again, all I did was find a bull pennant. I'm looking for the same fundamentals. Like, I'm calming down and just looking for a fundamental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can find patterns that work and you just play them. I mean, there's a book, The Way of the Turtle, and that's what they did. They took a whole bunch of ordinary people who weren't traders and they turned them into excellent traders. And basically all they did was they would find a pattern that wins on average, and then make sure they stick to that every time.
Exactly.
That's all it is. Like
the
problem with most people in trading is that they keep changing. They try this shiny new object, then that shiny new object, then this, then that, and and plus they don't know about like risk management and only using a small amount of your portfolio for each trade. So a couple trades are going all in, they're liquidated, and then it's over.
It's over. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's why education is so key, right? Shout out to Lion's Mane. This isn't sponsored, but I bought this yesterday, and I've been reading about it. It's a mushroom supplement. It's supposed to be very, very good for you for focus, energy. Lion's Mane,
And if any mushroom supplement companies are looking to sponsor Crypto Life, you can find his information on the About page. Yeah. One thing I was just going to say real quick before we talk about other stuff is if you're going to chart again, just put it over my face so people could see you talking while you're charting.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah,
that's cool. Instead of me just being like,
yeah. You're more of a, yeah. You're better at these things than I am. I already knew that from the start. We should have you kind of organize these. You could advise YouTube channels. You could be a YouTube channel advisor.
Well, that's the cool thing is that like anybody can be a YouTuber. Dude, like the mere fact that I get to make a living as a YouTuber blows my mind. Because like, here's the thing, like there are a couple of YouTubers, like one of them that I actually watched a long time ago to learn SEO and stuff from. now he does crypto videos. Alex Becker, he's got one of the bigger crypto channels right now where all he does is talk about Bitcoin and stuff. And dude, like he was like my YouTube heartthrob probably like 10 years ago. And then look where things go.
Yeah.
So, you know, if Crypto Lifer is your YouTube heartthrob right now, you could start a channel and then you could email him and be like, hey, can we live stream together? And then, you know,
and I got to pay it forward because he paid it forward, and everyone, and you see, when you get into an energy group of people, you realize their struggle, and then you realize they know your struggle. And that's where it comes, that's where there comes like, so you're closer to other YouTubers than you realize. And that's why Crypto Lifers are closer. Like, people join my group. Like, we jump into the tutoring session last week, and I look at everyone in the session, and I said, we all know each other better than we realize, because we've already had a calling that separated us from the general population, and now we're in this kind of niche field, and everyone knows like the looks you got, and everyone has a family friend or something who's looking at you like, Bitcoin, like, what do you do? You know, and it's funny, and so you find an outside group to kind of connect with. Like, that's probably why I found Crypto Love, because there was no love outside of Crypto Love. You know, I had to come and find the Crypto Love. So, I mean, yeah, and dude, the fact that I get to wake up every morning and do a YouTube video, are you kidding me? I will work. Some people are like, wow, you work so hard, you know, like putting in the work. And I'm like, yeah, I am putting the work. But once you make a consistency, like my wife respects that YouTube time. And once it starts becoming like a living that you can show your family, like my parents, I'm like, this is what I do now. And they can't say anything about it. Like, it produces more for me than my college career did.
Mm-hmm. And it's something you enjoy, you know? You're not just grinding away. Sometimes it is grinding, but like for the most part you enjoy it. You would do it anyways. Like
everything is a grind. Let's get it straight. Everything in life is a grind. If you said every morning you woke up ready to rock and roll every single day, I get like 80% of them, but there's, you know. So but it's like you said, it's the rewarding nature. The testimonials that people write. Come on, you're on my live stream right now. This is a live testimonial. Every time we go live, it's because you inspired me. You created this. You created this. You created this live stream because you helped create my idea because you created an idea. Your creativity spun creativity.
The way of life, man. It's just like it procreates.
Yeah, It does though. It does. Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah.
Always crypto love.
Yeah. So I know, right?
Everybody, crypto love.
Thank you. Life procreates. Bingo. Yeah. So what are you looking at in the markets? And I mean, I guess let's start with like a very, very macro view of everything. Like, I just saw this article earlier within the past 24 hours where the US says they're going to be out of money by October 18th. And Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad fame, he says there's going to be a stock market crash in the middle of October if they can't get the whatever budgets they need passed. So there's that.
But
there's
last night at 3 a.m.
Last
night at 3 a.m., Joe Biden signed in some executive order. They're going to get the money. It's all good now.
Okay.
No, I'm serious. It's over now. It's over. Yeah. No. Last night at 3 a.m., Twitter informed me. Jack Dorsey told me it's all good. Everything's going to be fine.
Dude, because it blew my mind how, like, literally 2 years ago, the U.S. says, or maybe less than 2 years ago, a year ago, the U.S. says they have infinite money. And then all of a sudden, now they're like, we're out of money. Apparently, the printing presses, we don't have enough money to pay for the electricity for the printing presses.
The sad thing is, as funny as it is, it's putting future generations into debt that they never agreed to pay.
Dude, the education system in the U.S. Hello. I think we've established over the past 30 years that as a general people, a lot of people don't care about putting future generations into debt because they think that it's for the best. Yeah.
They don't understand. It's just strange to me that I can learn this from Mike Maloney on YouTube in about 10 hours and, you know, rethinking it through my mind and making sure I fully understand it and kind of playing with the concepts. But, like, you know, I wouldn't. Mike Maloney taught me about gold and silver, which then I researched scarce assets, or I understood why people bought, collect like old cars, like Jay Leno and his 50 cars. Like those are just going to go up in value if he keeps them in top condition, like because they're NFTs basically, right? And that's where the rich eventually put their money. And so you can see the rich don't have piles of cash; they have piles of assets that are offset to that have scarcity, right? And so then I learned about the Bitcoin, and then I researched you. So, it's the succession. So too many people don't understand scarcity. Like, I try to talk to my mom. It's 8-year-old math, Mom. I said they're going to keep printing the dollar, and every 4 years they're going to have Bitcoin.
I know that's the other mind-boggling thing is everybody always talks about, well, what's one Bitcoin going to be worth? And like, if you think about it the other way, like one Bitcoin's only ever been worth one Bitcoin.
One Bitcoin.
Ever. That's all it's ever been worth is one Bitcoin. But like, what's happened to everything else? That's the crazy thing, mind-bending.
Well, this is what people don't realize, and I brought this up. And I didn't, probably 2 years ago, this concept hit me. I walk in, I open up my Coinbase or whatever, and I buy my first Bitcoin. I buy one Bitcoin, I have one 21 millionth of the supply, right? 10 years from now, I have one 120 millionth of the supply. And what you have of the supply is your value, because that's your percentage hole, and your percentage hole represents your stake, and your stake is your value. So if and then I say to everyone, let's shrink the world down to a street with 10 homes, just for a model's sake. There's $10 in existence, all right? And I have one of them. I have 1/10 of all the value. But then they come and just throw $10 more onto the street, right? Now I have 1/20th of the value. They keep doing that, and over time, my part of the whole becomes smaller. That lowers my value. So you always hold the value that Bitcoin provides the day you get it. But the dollar does not, because they keep adding to the supply, which lowers your initial value. And people don't, that's a big deal. That over time will corrode your finances.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's gonna make a big difference. And especially how, there are 30 or 40 million millionaires in the US, something like that. So there's more millionaires in the US than there are Bitcoin. So where does it tell you that it's going? And like, even now for a lot of large investors, a lot of large investors are like, a $40,000 Bitcoin isn't expensive enough. And it's like, okay, fine, let's go higher.
Yeah, well, they want to get it when no one can get it, right? Yeah. They want to get it when they know it's like elite, right? When you're like, oh, yeah, like you can't buy Bitcoin, but I can, It's like, it's crazy. Like, I've been in Bitcoin for 5 years. Came from a middle-class family, did my own thing, worked in a night shift for 6 years. And like, then I got a buddy that hit it pretty big. And like, the other day I looked at his account and like, he has more Bitcoin than me. And like, he just leaped in like just the other day, and it's just like, and you can't get depressed about it. You just got to be like, it's like, I worked for mine, for my little hole, and he just gets to kind of limp on in. But, at least he's smart enough to be open-minded. There's people with his money that are still kind of like, nah, I don't think it, I don't, so.
Well, so here's something that was really helpful for me is like, sometimes I used to look at people who had more than me or who were doing better than me, and I would get a little bit green with envy. But then I was reading a book about Charlie Munger, who's Warren Buffett's business partner. And he said, Berkshire Hathaway has been one of the top performing companies for like the past multiple decades. Okay, one of the top companies, and yet every year somebody has outperformed them. Like, as good as they are, they always get outperformed. So there will always be someone better than you, who has more than you, who's able to do more than you.
I have gone through the math for them too. They don't do that well. Sometimes I've highly criticized them sometimes. Like, if I wanted to be the overall market, fine, they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest, because they survive. But like, if I were to be highly critical of some of their decisions, they don't do that well. You know what I'm saying?
They're not popular in crypto. I get it, but like, the lesson isn't about how much they've actually made, but just
no.
It's about that, like, there's always people who will do better than you, and so it's almost like wasted energy to try and be.
Yeah, like every time I post a gain, I see Crypto Love, and he's up another 100x on opium or something, and I don't,
right.
I just can't seem to get, he's just always one more.
Always one more.
I'll get there one day, Crypto Love. I'll get you one day. I'm just messing.
There's no competition.
No, I'm messing
Definitely
around.
not. Yeah. Yeah. So what? Because like one of the things that I like about you is you kind of teach your whole methodology in terms of trading, and like that's something that a lot of people get into. Here's the unfortunate part. So like a lot of people get into cryptocurrency because of clickbaity titles, and then they go and leverage trade, not knowing how to do it, and they get completely liquidated, and then they're out. That's the unfortunate part.
Or they don't
But
even,
then,
let's stop there. They don't even get leverage traded. They spot trade, but they just, like with 10K, but they open up 4 positions at, 2,500, and the market dumps and they're down 4 or 5K. They panic sell, and then they leave with 4,000 or 3,000 or 2,000, right? And they say cryptocurrency sucks.
mm-hmm. But then, fortunately, those few who don't get completely liquidated or who remain eventually find someone like you, who has basically like pulled yourself up from your bootstraps and learned how to trade, and is able to do it really, really well. Yeah. So
I had no choice. I did it because I had no choice. That's what people don't realize. Like, number one, I always believed that if you don't do what you truly desire to do, you're a failure. That just was me. And I was very hard on myself. And I was starting to get into deep depression. I'll open up about something pretty deep. Like, I was a happy guy. Like, if you invited me out, if I did a live stream with you, I'd probably be pretty bubbly and I'd talk about good philosophical ideas. And on the outside, you wouldn't really notice because I was able to be happy for what I had. And I always said, I use gratitude, but I wasn't going where I wanted to go in life. Like, I kept looking at the road, and the road, like I was going further and further away from my destiny. So I was getting more nervous every year and more anxiety every year, and more depression would set in late at night when I was like, where am I going? I said, I don't change anybody's life. I said, I make TV. I said, I'm going to end up in a room for 14 hours a day. And, so they stuck me in those rooms. And I found you. I found Trevon James. I know it's funny, but like I saw him doing BitConnect one day. As crazy as it was, he was running the algorithms back then. BitConnect was pretty hot. And I'll be honest, I think
Grant both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything.
And I never jumped fully into that thing. I think I threw $100 in there. I'll be dead honest. And I never used a referral link, and because I always was like, eh. And I got burned in some other weird ones. Some Litecoin one too. They took I lost, I think 10 Litecoin. I remember when it was $50. But what I did learn was, I opened a Bittrex account. And I started trading Potcoin. I always remember this. Like, first coin I ever traded was Potcoin. I got in at like 8 or 10 cents, and one day it went to like 40 cents, and I turned $500 into like almost $3,000 at work, and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, wow, this is cool, this little stuff. So I only had a Bittrex account. Next thing you know, the $5,000 was 20, 40. I couldn't believe it. And I'm in that room. I wasn't even doing my work anymore. I was trading. First time I ever had an office where I could close the door. So I would close that door. And, and I'd be in there all day and then I eventually would lose my job because of the pandemic. I would leave New York City and move to my hometown where I knew nobody. And it wasn't easy to connect because everyone was all freaking shut off. So I wasn't going to and New York was a hot spot. So I wasn't going to go like, hey, everyone, like, I'm from New York now. Like, let's hang out and like, let's COVID up, let's, what, don't even want to say anything, but let's hang out together, and I was thrust into a place where I was alone with my computer and my trading. And I was either going to make it happen or I was going to have to go to work for somebody else. And I had already determined for the last 10 years that was going to lead me into a deep depression. And I did hit a deep depression. I'll be honest, something real bad. Like I saw visions of myself hanging on a noose, like really horrible. I don't know why. Like underneath my porch last December, my wife's father had died of COVID. She was crying herself to sleep every night. She had watched him die on an iPhone. She couldn't say goodbye to him. There was no closure for her. It ripped my heart out. And it was just such a dark place, no one to talk to. And my trading group really got me through. Like all the crypto lifers, like everyone in my trading group, because late at night, like I could talk to someone and there was a group there. And it was as therapy as much as it was for me, as it was to be there for everyone else, made me strong. And I found my strength in that in that like the darkest period of my life. And then even on top of all that, I'm about to hit 1,000 subs and YouTube suspends my channel. And I'm at like 998, about to monetize, like about to breach. And I got on my knees and I prayed that night. And right where I'm sitting, I'll never forget it. And I just said, God, like, and I always said thank you to God. And I try to be like, oh, you say grateful things. I finally said, God, like, I need your help. Like, I'm cooked. I said, like, if this one doesn't go, I'm going to go back to some job. And I don't know what's like, and I'm going to go back into the depression and the anxiety. And I said, can you please make one thing in my life crack? I said, if you let this one crack, I said, I'll do everything. I said, I'll put in, sorry, but I was like, I'll put in 110%. Like, I'll put in everything. Like, and I'll prove to you that this is what I want. And I remember when I did that, I had watched Jim Rohn and all these people that we talk about now, and all these like awesome mentors and people that you can find on YouTube. And they were always saying, like, if you desire something, like, it has to be the true desire, like, and I understood that, but was never able to let go of whatever other crap I was into to fully commit. And it took my life to get completely destroyed, right? For me to find what the only thing, it's like you're out in the ocean and there's one life preserver. And like, my YouTube channel was my life preserver. It was my place. And, and I have this quote here by Maya Angelou. You can only become great at the thing you're willing to sacrifice for. And that quote, like, I heard it last night, and I'm sorry to get emotional. I apologize for this. But I heard that quote last night, and you can only become great at that thing you're willing to sacrifice for. And wow, like, I was like, and so when you bring up like why I show people how to chart and trade, it's because I truly believe I could die tomorrow, with all honesty, and not to be morbid, but I truly believe that's a possibility, and it is, and that's a sad fact of life, but it is. And I truly believe my second quote is like, you're as powerful as what you give away. And I feel like you emulated that to me. Like, I live by what you taught to this day, Yeah, and I always talk too much, but that's just kind of like where I was and where I am now. And you said how grateful you are to have a YouTube channel. Like, I'm right there with you, man. Like, what a blessing. Like, what a blessing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, I feel the same way. Like, there was this performing magician, and I read about him in, I don't know, but basically before every one of his performances, he would say, I'm extremely grateful for my audience. Because of them, I'm able to make a great living in a very agreeable way. I love my audience. I love my audience. I love my audience. And dude, I say that before I make every episode. I'm going to give them the best show I can. Because really, I mean, like, we're blessed to be able to do what we do. And the only reason we can do it is because people actually watch when we sit in front of a camera.
Yeah. Start every stream with thank you for sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, should have started. Thank you, everyone, for watching us right now and sharing your most precious asset with us, and that's your time. We appreciate each and every one of you, the crypto lovers, the crypto lifers, everybody out there,
So my question for you is going to be, I mean, how to get started trading, and I think that's where a lot of people want to be. Like, they see what you were just doing with that chart, and they want to know how to do that. So I would say, like, what's some helpful hints? How do you get started? First off, how you get started is you join your Patreon. Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, you find. Let's start at the very beginning, though, right? Let's start at the basics, right? Because who spends money on something they don't know about? So a lot of people, actually, all of America, but like, but logically, people are more apt to begin to spend money. So what I try to do is come to my live stream every day, honestly, and it's hard, but or rewatch my live streams, because I'm trying to educate every single day, and honestly, you got to get your feet wet. It's about tripping on your feet. Watch a baby. How does a baby learn? I'm watching my daughter. I have a 5-6 month-old daughter right now. I'm watching her learn how to crawl. She gets up on her front legs. She's able to, she does a plank now. Like, this is her next step. She can plank real well. But then she's like, and what she does is eventually she slaps her feet back down. And then when she pushes herself back up, she goes backwards. So she starts at this part of the rug, and 20 minutes later, she's at the couch, and her feet are under the couch, and we got to get her. So, like, you can set her somewhere in the room, but you got to watch her because eventually she's going to, but she's tripping on her feet, right? But what she is doing is she's using things, and eventually she's going to learn. And what I do is I sit with her, and I move her knee, and I crawl in front of her, and I'm telling you, she does pick up on what I'm telling her. Like, I see her kind of watch me, and so you got to emulate. In my humble opinion, like, watching YouTube is great. Like, you know, I learned from watching Crypto Love, but like, he didn't put his hand on my hand.
At least not that we can talk about on the channel. Yeah.
And show me how to draw a chart, you know? So like, I got a chart right up here and we're looking at it, and you just got to start, you know, literally the pattern site. There's so many free places too.
Oh yeah, Bulkhouse.
Like, as much as I want you to throw me 99 and join all my stuff, like, there's so many free places where you can become good at, you know, busted patterns, pattern 729, candlesticks, pattern rank, psychology, Elliott wave. Like, there is so much information.
I love that he tells you like exactly what to look for in the pattern. Like, when you know the pattern is fulfilled, how much you can expect to get from the pattern. That's a great site. Yeah.
It's a really good site, right? And what I do too, though, is I just have like, there's like some basic trading patterns, you know, and you could type in that. Like, Google is your friend. Mm-hmm. Because I'm talking about someone that doesn't want to spend $1. Like, you want to get started, like, right here. Like, it's right here. I'll be honest, I make a living off of this sheet right here. I really do. I make a living off of this sheet right here. And it's 8 patterns. Yeah, there's the cup and handle, there's the broadening wedge, right? There's the diamond. It gets more extensive for sure, but they're all kind of variations. And like we said at the beginning, get good at one thing. At the very beginning, I wasn't good at divergences at all, but I was good at hidden bullish divergence. I could find that one thing and nail that one thing. And I just was like, all right, I'm not good at the other ones. I don't really know much about it at all, but I know when I see hidden. And so I said, okay, I'll just trade that then. And I almost asked myself, I said, why do I need to learn anything else? For 2 years, I was stubborn. And I said, why don't I just trade hidden bullish? And it's honestly because you might want to short. You may have to short. There may be a time where there's going to be a good fall, and there's good capital there that you could use for a beautiful long, you know? So you don't want to give up opportunities just because you don't want to be stubborn. And I was stubborn for years. I tell my students, it took me way too long to get where I'm at. I'm 38. Like, I should have my own business. But I was stubborn, stuck in my own ways. For whatever reasons, I had my own struggles. And it kept me from putting in the work into TA the way I should have. So you got to learn these patterns, really. And then you can go to chart. This is another thing I tell everyone. This is all free. You can go to CoinTrader, CoinTrader.pro here. Here's my trading needs here. You can go to CoinTrader.pro. This is a free website. You can type in BTC, USD for free here. So we're not selling you a thing, me and Crypto Love here. We're showing you how you can get started. Bootstraps, you know, like ramen noodle, trying to make it happen lifestyle, right? And this is a free site, right? I'll show you right now. Let's do it. Like, hold on. Let me be like, right, real quick. You can hit the indicators. I love to use the MACD, moving average convergence and divergence. I like to use the RSI, and I like to use the stochastics RSI. So you put the relative strength index, you put the stochastic index. And then go to like the 15-minute chart where there's going to be so much information. Bust out this pattern sheet that you printed on Google and start finding the patterns and seeing how they play out and start putting them together. Like, I'll do one right now just for the sake of it, right? It's like, this is a rising wedge here. It said it would break down 68. This blue line says there's a 68% chance this would break down. Everyone asked where that came from. Apparently, a guy started trading the rice markets in like the 1300s. And he would write down the price of rice throughout the day. And over a few months' time, these are the patterns that he found. And he saw that they broke out this amount of times. Somehow we create a frequency, and these are the patterns that get pushed out of our behaviors in markets. And I can't fully explain that. but it works. And once you get over that, and I know people that fight that, they get stuck up on that concept for too long and they never let it go. You got to be open-minded to believe that certain things you don't know everything about, but they're like 2 + 2 is 4. Don't sit there and try to figure that out for the rest of your life. Like when you add 2 things to another set of 2 things, it's going to equal 4. That's something that you have to do in trading. You have to be able to separate your want to don't reinvent the wheel in certain parts of trading. And so look, rising wedge breaks down 68% of the time. So then I would go to this chart here and I would look this free chart here. And look, I would look for these things. And look, this was a rising wedge. This broke down really bad. That was supposed to happen 68% of the time. And so start teaching yourself that. If you can teach yourself that, you can find it again and use it to your advantage. Okay? Rising wedges break up 68% of the time. Falling wedges, excuse me. Go start following the falling wedge. Free plays, you can Google that. That's 3 words. Basic trading patterns. This is 3 words. CoinTrader Pro. And you're ready to go. And these are 3 things. Stochastic, RSI, and MACD, which should be there. I don't know why I have 2 on there. Let me add the MACD just to be official here.
We were talking before we started streaming about kind of like getting an education in cryptocurrency or in finance, because pretty much for anybody in the beginning, you just lose. Like even if you catch part of the bull run, you hang on too long and then you lose,
Yeah.
So but it's the price of entrance, and also it's way cheaper than going to university.
Yeah. You're going to end up with $100,000 in debt either way. Why don't you just blow a couple hundred, blow literally, honestly too, let's be honest. We all have these stories, but I can honestly say I didn't lose more than $40,000, on missed trades, on bad ideas. I didn't lose more than 40. To me, that's a lot of money. I lost like 14 when I was only worth $40,000, and that was depressing. Granted, hey, at least I would had the $40,000 to lose 14 of it, but to lose a quarter of my wealth, and it took me like 4 or 5 years to, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't see how I was going to get back. But my dad would always say, I remember calling my dad that day and being like, Dad, I had to cut this trade off. And he said, yeah, it happened to me once. He's like, I opened up an account. He's like, I threw $40,000. He said $40,000 is the same number. He's like, next day the company did an acquisition. It went to 0. He's like, I had no idea, He's like, it happens. And he wasn't, I never really sat with my dad and talked about trading. He did a few, he did CDs and opened up a Vanguard index fund or something. He's not someone that's going to sit and, I didn't learn how to trade from my parents. It never came up at the dinner table. It comes up now that he's older and I'm into it. And now I kind of pull him into talking about it, but no one taught me any of this at home. I didn't have a brother, uncle, friend, We did do one thing in 6th grade where we had to pick 6 stocks and track them, and I'll remember it. And I tracked Levi's, Boeing. I can't remember the other 3, but I always remember tracking Boeing and Levi's, and that stuck with me a little bit, right? So.
Yeah. And also the cool thing about trading Bitcoin is that you don't have to worry about the reliability of the company. You don't have to worry if the company's going out of business.
I love what you just said. That's the greatest thing ever. Are they going to dilute? Right? Are they going to 20 to 1 to make it to the NASDAQ? Do they have to stay above $1? Another thing I say to people when everyone wants to say they don't realize how great Bitcoin is, because I could spend an hour talking how beautiful and great Bitcoin is. People do get upset, and human beings do pass away. And when CEOs either step down, resign, or get Me Too'd, who knows what else can happen, a CEO is a vulnerability because it's a human, and a human is not. A human can make human error, right? Mankind I try to use because someone's trying to teach me that when you use the word human, you're saying hue of man, and it's actually bad nomenclature. You want to use mankind. Hue of man is actually some way to kind of deconstruct us through words. But anyway, so but that person could fall to ill and whenever you hear CEO resigns, there's always that can't happen with Bitcoin.
Well, dude, how about those 2 people who resigned from the Fed? I don't actually know the story, but
so shady. They were doing insider trading, basically. They were trading assets while they were playing with the world market. The Boston Fed and the Dallas Fed, I believe, right?
Crazy. Yep. I know. Greed knows no bounds. Like, literally.
But like they always just get like little slaps on the wrist. It's so weird. You know? You know, it's like the people that really care about the consumer try to get put in like, you know, I don't know. It gets deep, and I try not to go where they want me to go. You know what I'm saying? How do you make like a brown grass area look good? You plant a flower. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't like yell at the brown grass. You know what I'm saying? You don't walk. You know, I'm not making the best metaphor, but like you change the environment without using their frequencies. Right? And there you battle them without even knowing. You battle them without them even knowing you're battling them. You see?
Well, we have the potential now for people's revolution because people can control their finances now, if they choose to.
If they choose to, yeah.
If they choose to, but it's always a choice, you know. Everybody always has a choice.
So. Well, one thing I want to talk about is a lot of people watch your channel and then they watch my channel, and so they're like, opium. What do you like about opium? And can we talk about opium? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Not opium, but the actual cryptocurrency opium. We're not going to get into Afghanistan right now.
Yeah. So basically, where that comes from is from token metrics. And so when I got into cryptocurrency in 2017, just as ICOs are just as NFTs are very popular right now, ICOs were all the rage back in 2017. And people would ask me all the time, like, what ICOs should I invest in? Because basically you would be able to buy it and some of them would 100x or higher than that. And while I knew some of them, I don't want to pretend that I know something that I don't. So I was like, hey, there's this guy who's really smart. He uses an Excel spreadsheet, and he is insanely accurate at picking out all of the best ICOs. Ian Bellina. Yeah. So I would say, if you want to know about ICOs, go watch his channel. And so then he developed Token Metrics, which takes all of that knowledge, but then he has a really amazing team of traders, of quant analysts, of programmers, and he basically has developed the whole system. And out of that, he is able to pick out a lot of the best altcoins out there. Now, that being said, where opium comes from is, if I want to know what coins have a chance of 100xing, I'm probably going to follow the portfolio of the smartest guy I know. Now, that being said, don't FOMO into opium with everything you have, because as much as it could go up 100x, there's a good chance it could also go to zero. But the thing is, with a lot of these coins, like the coins that he has in his portfolio, I'm cool putting 1% of my portfolio in there.
Yeah.
Because if it goes to zero,
I lose 1%.
Really negligible.
Yeah.
But if it 100x's, I just doubled my portfolio. So
doubled. So you hear that? Wait. Say that again.
Yeah. So if I put in 1% of my portfolio and it goes to zero, it's negligible. But if it 100x's, which a lot of these coins are, because they're small market cap, they have great code, they have great teams, and also they're being picked by probably one of the smartest altcoin pickers I know. If it 100x's, I double my portfolio, because I'm taking 1%. It goes up 100 times, so that's 100%. So I just double my portfolio, and it's like no risk.
See, I follow your lead all the time, and it shows. You know, for my Patreon, I do a weekly screen share every Wednesday, which you're likely to come to if you ever want to. I never actually told you about it. If you'd ever want to jump on in, you can jump on it. We do a Q&A at the end, and I just kind of go over. It's like about 2 hours from 6 to 8 p.m. every Wednesday, and I go over token metrics on top of it, because I already paid for the $8.99 and my patrons are paying $99, and some of them are beginners. And so as a group, we go over the weekly index and KuCoin, the daily, the monthly, and then what I also chart them. And it's interesting because a lot of times, not every time, and it's not you know, it's probably like if he gives 20, 2 or 3 I've already charted because I'm good at these cup and hand. And I found that like his algorithm finds these cup and handles at the bottom, and I'm a cup and handle guy at the bottom. So like I'll find these things, and so like I was looking at lattice token, then he talked about lattice token. I was looking at tower, then I saw tower come up. There's been, you know, 5 or 6 coins now that have overlapped my ideas with his ideas. I looked at HPB before. I don't know why. I saw it was the crappiest chart in all of KuCoin, and it was only a BTC pair, and it had a double bottom. And so I put out to everyone, hey, this looks like it may pop. Boom, the next day. And now I see it on Token Metrics a week later. I'm like, he's on. And so now I'm seeing my own analysis kind of cross-reference with theirs, and it's awesome, you know? And yeah, it's been very interesting. Lattice was a great pick at $9.98 and went to $2.70, like real easy. You know, there's been silent 3, 4, 5Xs that no one's really paying attention to. I've been heavily on KuCoin. I've been in KuCoin since 2017. I bought KuCoin shares at $1. I did unload all my KuCoin shares. It was like a few months back. I'm sitting there, I wake up, they're like 17, 18. I was like, and and I looked at it and I was like, I think I had put in $300 into KuCoin shares, or $350 when it was $100, And then they even give you more shares. I don't know if you know, but like if you hold KuCoin shares, so like, and they buy either little pizza coins, you end up with like 0.1 cents of like hundreds of all these other coins, you know? And I probably ended up with like 400 of them. Over the few years, I ended up with 50 more, you know? And then I woke up one day and I saw it went to 18, came to 1770. And I just said that and I sold it at 1770 like, you know, 2-3 months ago on the bit of a crazy night. Not much else was pumping. Like the mainnet was coming out, and that got that hype. You know, KuCoin's gonna have a mainnet. Everyone thought it was gonna become BSC a lot faster than it did. It's still kind of on the wayside. It's not getting as much of a push, but I think it will eventually have its time in the sun, and people will play with it. But oh man, and so I had a last bit of debt that I had like $6 or $7 grand, and paid it off with $300 from 4 years ago. I mean,
that's awesome.
You know. So that was one 2017
win.
Miracle. Oh, and now it's when I finally was able to check the debt free. So crypto has made me debt free because every time I put little savings away, those savings ate away my debt. Isn't that interesting? It was like an amoeba in a petri dish. It just ate it. Like the cryptocurrency just eventually made enough value that the debt disappeared, you know? Because I put myself in scarce assets. Because I understood gold. And I understood what the human race for the last 5,000 years has been attenuated to want. And so I said, well, if I just go with history, I should be pretty all right. So I studied history. Mike Maloney got me there. Bam. Now, when you make your certain, like when you build your portfolio, when you decide to get in and out of things, like, do you take profits throughout a 2 to 3 year period? Are you in and out? Like I just got out of Litecoin to get into this Gala coin. Do you like that idea? Is that something that, you know?
I have a very, very long time frame for my trades. Like I wouldn't even call myself that much of a trader. More of just an investor. Like I try and buy stuff when it's low, and then just leave it there. And then if one day it pops off, so you know, like most of my portfolio is still Bitcoin and ETH.
Are you in Cardano?
I have some Cardano, but I would say probably like 60+% is Bitcoin and ETH. Maybe like 5% is Cardano, something like that. And so, yeah, and so it's just like I have a very long-term time frame, and so like I don't like to repeat the same mistakes. And like, you know, when you do something, like when you sell something and then later it pumps, like for instance, I sold Cardano, like I bought it at 2 cents initially, and then I sold it when it was like 20 cents or something like that, which is a phenomenal gain. But then it went up to $2 or something like that, you know? So like,
but see, you taught me to never sell my Cardano. I just find that funny. Like from what I got from you, I'm like, oh, I'm holding this till 2030. Like you sold me on such a long, that's the only thing I held for 4 years. Like there was many, you know, that I really thought was worth holding, you know? I think of you every time I look at my portfolio, man. Should be a little crypto love face next to my ADA bag.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so like, but by doing that back in 2018 or 2017, I became kind of averse to wanting to buy something to sell something else. So like my goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin and Ethereum as I possibly can. And I'll trade in and out of other coins to do that, with that being the goal. So like right now, most of my portfolio, it's actually Beckham, like David Beckham, except it's not spelled the same way. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Celsius, and Matic. That's my big five, like right there. And
no Phantom.
not well, not in the big five, no.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't like I planned on those being in the big five, but Matic was something that I learned about from Token Metrics. Bought it at a cent, went up to 250, and now it's back down to $1.
But still, you're 100xing. I mean,
yeah,
130x.
Celsius.
Looking at 130x, man, right here for everybody.
Celsius was just something where I wanted to try out the platform. So I wanted to see what it was like to take out a loan against Bitcoin. So I took out a loan. It was just small loan, but to pay the interest on the loan, you need to pay in Cell token. So I had to buy some Cell token, and I was just like, okay, I'll just buy a chunk of Cell token, and bought it at 6 cents. Went up to $8, back down to $6 or whatever. So like those, but that's what I'm talking about with the small investments. So you ask about Opium. Like I think Opium has potential because it's a derivatives exchange. I mean, look what just happened the other day with DYDX. Yeah. So like,
I was all over that the day it came out. See, my group, we don't miss a beat. We were on DYDX at like when it had a double bottom. The TA told me like we nailed that. Now we have DDX. DDX is on Coinbase. I think it's supposed to do the same thing at $6, and it's about to. So we're on to DDX now. So now we're gonna kind of, and now we realize with Binance shutting down and KYCing hardcore on the 18th of October, 23rd, that's the feeling. That's the FOMO now, right? The decentralized exchange rush. That's going to be a little bit of an easy bubble to play for the next 6 weeks, in my humble opinion.
I thought decentralized exchanges are so undervalued for so long. I mean, like
me too. I thought 1inch was going to explode way bigger than it did.
1inch, yeah, all of them. It's just like how could because
I didn't understand why
they're doing the same
1inch
amount of trading volume as like Coinbase or any of these other ones, and they're completely undervalued. Yeah.
What do you think of the Cardano ecosystem in these like Sunday Swap and Emergo and Charlie 3 and
dude, I think that like all of these ecosystems are very, very interesting. I'm really interested to see where it's going to go, because there's just such a following. Like I would say that Cardano is the first non-Ethereum chain to really have a cult following. Because back in, I always try and look back to previous cycle that I was in, and like then there was Neo, which Neo was like the non-Ethereum.
Was it AntShares? Am I right?
Yeah, it was AntShares first, and then it rebranded to Neo.
Seeing that on CoinMarketCap,
dude, and that was like literally as popular as Cardano is now. That was as popular as Neo was. There was Neo, there was Lisk, there was Omise Go, there was, and like none of them are around. But Cardano has like, and I think I reckon what happened to like kind of trying to launch a space shuttle and like breaking out of the atmosphere, like you spend most of the fuel trying to get out of the atmosphere, but then once you do, it's smooth sailing. And I think that Cardano's done that, and we see like Solana doing that, and we see a lot of other ones doing that, and it's really interesting because who knows where it's going to go, but the possibilities that they have out there for what it can create. Like look at what they're able to create.
Well, he said he has a deal with $1 trillion of illicit assets with Africa, right? Cardano?
I think there's like MOUs and stuff like that. I'm not particularly sure, but seems to be banking be unbanked. I mean, letting everybody else contribute to the ecosystem.
Yeah,
it just like expands the capacity of money, because before then, in order to interact with money, you needed to get a bank account. And a lot, I don't know, like 40 or 60% of the world doesn't have a bank account.
No.
So
Yeah.
all these people are cut off from actually,
Because you need to be literate. You need to be able to read an account. You know, like it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's it's a discriminate. The banking system is discriminatory. People don't realize that, and it's been that way for a long time. Charles Hawkinson's will teach you that. Like, in funny, he went in on that crypto bill. I watched him the other day. Like, I saw him swear for like the first time online. He was like, "And we can remember." He's like, "We have memories." He's like, "And we will remember you who made that bill." He's like, "How dare you come after a nascent, beginning industry like that and just come after us so hard because we don't have the lobbyists, we don't have the money like all these other big industries to protect ourselves. So you're just gonna come and just purge us." He was livid. I've never seen him so livid.
Well, dude, there's gonna be a day where if you're like not if you're anti-Bitcoin or anti-cryptocurrency as a politician, your career's over. It's coming.
I can't wait for that.
Like,
I can't
dude,
wait.
It's
for
coming.
That.
10
Yeah.
years.
I tell you, I'm
less.
gonna be the mayor of Boston, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, Sam Bryan, mayor of the bean, man. And you can fly right in, and I'll have you crypto.
Oh, yeah. But so like connecting all these people in Africa to the monetary system, because they'll be able to create and add value, and then money is going to go up exponentially, and not just because they're printing it, but because so many more people will become connected and be able to add value.
What are your thoughts on the dollar getting stronger? Like, there's just been like kind of yarn weaving behind my head that, like, that the dollar somehow is going to come out of this, and like more people are going to use the dollar throughout the world, and we're going to it's actually
the dollar
going to be.
Still is the standard currency. Unfortunately, it's not backed by anything. Like, the dollar is super weak compared to pre-1971 when it was taken off the gold standard.
Bretton
but
Woods,
it's still the reserve currency of the world as of right now, aside from the Chinese yuan.
Yeah.
So that's the only other one. And really, those are the two currencies. Now, a lot of places would prefer to have US dollars because it is still considered one of the strongest currencies. And actually, I found the US's number one export is actually the dollar.
I thought it was debt.
Well,
I thought that was our number one export was debt.
Yeah, but the dollar, it's crazy. And I think I've heard it said that the US is kind of in between a rock and a hard place. So it's not like they actually want to print more money, but if they don't print more money, economies are going to collapse. I mean, and so with the debt,
but if they print more money, economies are going to collapse. And it's like, wait, it's like they have to print money, because if they don't print money, the economy is going to collapse. But if they print money, the economy is going to collapse.
Yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I think the thing that they're doing is they're trying to prolong the economies while they can. So if they stop printing money now, we have economic recession now, economies collapse now. If they keep printing money, it's well, maybe we have 5 years,
But that was 2008 though, right? I mean,
somewhat, yeah. It's just we keep kicking the can down the road.
What about the reset, the Great Reset, right? We keep hearing, you will have nothing, you will own nothing, and you will be happy. The Charles Schwab, dude, it's just that video bugs me out. Yeah. It's like Dr. Evil or something, but it's will they figure out at least a nuance or a spinoff, something? Will they create a new system before they crash the old one?
I think we've already created it. So here's what it is, dude. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I loved playing video games. Mm-hmm. There were a few people whose job was to play a video game, but it was that was the dream of dreams, to be a professional gamer. Mm-hmm. Now you can be a professional gamer. Okay. Now follow me here with NFTs, because look at these games. You play Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, or you play any game where you earn stuff, and all of a sudden, instead of earning these worthless electronic digital things, you're earning NFTs. You're able to take your attention, play the game you love to play, earn actual stuff that's worth money, and then trade that money in the economy for goods and services. All of a sudden, we've created this new world. It's in its infancy right now.
Mm-hmm. I've been saying similar notions. Elio Trades talking to, I hear him the other day. It's like, and I say it to my wife, I say it to my family and friends, even me. I'm a collective movement. I'm a piece of this collective movement. The fact that I get to make money, with cryptocurrency and YouTube, and these opportunities are getting, and also with the shutdown of more remote life systems going on, a lot of people had no choice. But like a lot of, honestly, the shutdown might have been one of the greatest things because you know how many coders probably were stuck in their homes, and you know how many projects got so much work done because people just didn't have the distractions anymore, and they just worked. I worked. I had never worked so hard. Like I'm still, when you work really hard, that energy stays with you, right? Like you're still riding the wave of your initial work on your channel, right? And that's the beauty too of having a channel. You get to ride momentum. Momentum in life is so beautiful. When you get to feel yesterday's feeling, it's harder to get depressed when, now I don't go through that dark times. And hopefully this December, I'll plow right through. I'll do a live stream of Crypto Love and we'll laugh it off. It'll be great. And I'm not going to find it. Now I don't see how I could ever see that dark place I was in. I just don't see how I could ever get there again. I just don't. But I do know I have to keep up the momentum. I got to work out in the morning, got to drink the lemon water, got to do the right things, got to stay away from the soda, the bad food, alcohol. I just got to keep away from things that'll bring my frequency low, and then slowly, without me realizing it. And that's what they push a lot too. You see in the media is like people are getting forced this low frequency lifestyles. And then it's harder to want to go research Bitcoin late at night because you're tired. It's harder to want to watch Crypto Love because another video. I want to go watch mindless Netflix. I don't want to have to think, and because Crypto Love will make you think, and he'll get your mind turning. I mean,
you got the key there. It is momentum, and it's in coding and programming, there's the whole garbage in, garbage out mentality, and so it works in the inverse as well. You put good stuff in, you get good stuff out. And so like building up the momentum and the positive habits that can reinforce the lifestyle that you want. And because like everybody has this dream of like, oh, once I'm a millionaire, then I'll do whatever. I'll travel the world. I'll stop working. And it's like Jim Carrey said it best. He's like, I wish everybody could get everything they wanted so they could realize that's not actually what it is.
What they want.
Yeah. It's like it's like, imagine what the life would be. Imagine if you had everything you wanted and anything was possible, but you still had to live every single day, 24 hours a day. What are you going to do? And then start working to build that life, like and I think that's where we're all headed. And I think that's why a lot of people get into cryptocurrency, because they want that freedom to be able to live the life that they want. And so it's just like, again, I'm going to go back to Charlie Munger, because he said he's a smart guy. Like despite
no, I'm cool with him. I think he's amazing. I quote him all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So he's like, I don't try and be smart. I just try not to be stupid.
Yeah.
And so like I look at that in cryptocurrency, and I'm like, okay, how can I not be stupid? So being stupid would be things like getting liquidated, losing access to your private keys, getting scammed, getting kidnapped, like those types of things would be like bad. So trying to do what you can to avoid those.
Do you walk around with security?
But like, it's just like trying not to put yourself in situations where it's risky, but like not getting liquidated. So like trading leverage, yes, some people make money from it. Very few people, but it looks really alluring. And so like staying away from that, and like,
you know what I tell people? Research, just research. Like,
yeah,
I traded leverage. I started trading leverage. I have traded leverage. I discourage all my students not to do it, and I constantly, somewhat bash it, because look, I was trading Uniswap. Had I traded leverage, I would have been watching the leverage program all day long, right? Just and it would have been up and down. And I'll be honest, I turned $100 into $700 in 36 hours trading leverage, using this like hidden bullish divergence on the 1 minute and inverted head and shoulders, and only getting in when they would massively dip it on the 1 minute and waiting for the dips to occur. And you get like, I've noticed you get like 7, 8 every few days. So I'd sit for 3 or 4 hours, wait for the nasty dip, play it, get what I could. You know, just like, and I barely slept. My heart was racing. And then after all that work, I opened up another trade like at like 10 in the morning, passed out, and woke up liquidated. And I was like, like got back in the horse again, did it again, would trade unbelievably well, would just fall asleep just because I couldn't handle it, liquidate. Like it would, and I realized that I would have to close every trade or else I would get liquidated. And I had a system, and I'd even teach people, I can teach you how to trade leverage. Like it's a leverage trading boot camp, how you use the 1 minute and the 15 minute. They both should be locked in. Just how I'm using the 1 hour and the 15 minute trading spot, you use the 1 minute and the 15 minute trade leverage. And like you could do all that. And I found I was spinning so much of my wheels. And and how it goes lower and higher than the spot price, right? I don't know if you ever remember, they liquidated everyone at 48K when Bitcoin only went to like 42, like 2 or 3 months ago. Like there was a wick to 48K on Binance. Like they got everybody. It was like insane because Bitcoin did not hit 48K on any exchange. Like it was the shadiest thing I've ever seen. And so you're not playing real rules. You're playing shady mafia rules that are against you, number one. I like to play when the game is somewhat in my favor. Stepping into the leverage game is like just like completely everything. The funding fees change on you. There's a little red thing that people don't realize. Once it hits 4, they can just close your position. People don't even know that. Like there's so many things people don't. They don't even know what funding is. Like it just. And so I tell them, had you stepped away from leverage? Look, I tried Uniswap. Then I learned that ETH had high fees, and then I found Cake at 60 cents. And anyone who did that could have turned 1,800 into 100 grand. So. And show me the leverage trader, and that only took 2 months. Show me the leverage trader to turn 1,800 into 100 grand. I'm sure he's out there, but like, and I didn't do it staring at a screen all night. He would have had to wasted so much more of his time to accomplish the same thing that I did, and I had more time to research the next thing while he was stuck on the. So I realized that I think leverage trading is detrimental, bad for emotion, bad for lifestyle, not what I want to be doing. Doesn't fit my profile, doesn't fit my frequency. I'll be honest, I'll put my hand up. BitGet has hit me up for 3 months straight. You're the most accurate trader we've seen. We watch your channel. You could make 50 grand a month. We're going to give you the best commission rates anyone because they have been hunting me down. 5 of their reps, now another rep every other day. And I was on the fence and I was like, why don't you hit us up? And my wife was like, why aren't you answering all these people that want to do stuff with you? I got paralyzed and I wouldn't answer the guy. And he kept being like, if you don't answer me, eventually this is going to go to the next guy. And I was just like, and finally I was just like, I don't want to work for anybody else. Like, I said, I don't want to work for you. Like, I don't, and I said, I already have my own Patreon. And so if I do copy trading on your site, then people could just copy trade me there. And what's the difference between my Patreon and your copy trading? And like, and on my site, I always talk about people that are making tons of money on leverage links. And it's not my frequency. I don't want to be attached to that frequency. Like, even if I could have a greater life and more money, I don't want to, I realize I'm not here for that. I'm here for an experience. When I tutor people, the high I get during that session, and when I finish it, and yeah, it's cool that I make the $100 an hour or whatever I'm charging, and it's awesome. And that exchange is like the magician said, thank you that I get to do this and I get to make an honest living. But the money. And then I said, once I make all this money, like you said, I'm going to buy a Tesla or I'm going to drive the Audi. And my lease was up. I went right to the Hyundai. I got the same Hyundai I had for the last. And me and my wife looked at each other and we were like, this is the right thing to do. Like, you don't spend money because you can, because everyone else can see that you have. Like, you get whatever you need that makes you comfortable, And it is funny. Like, when I finally had things that now I'm not saying I've made it 100%, but like I don't work a 9 to 5 anymore. I get to hang out with Crypto Love. Like, this is my life now. It's awesome. And you don't want all the things you thought you wanted. All you want to do is keep going with the energy that helped you get there, And now I get it. Like, I get it now. And I wasn't even there 2 or 3 months ago. And it's like, wow, like, I don't want anything. I just want to make my wife happy. Like, if I can get her out to dinner so she didn't have to cook, I just want to do things that make her happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I want to use my money for. Give my kid a good education, take her places where she can see the world, and make my wife feel like she's not overstressed with the children and working. And like, if that is, and then we could do some good. Maybe we can open a charity. Maybe we could do some good too, I'm sure me and you will do something down the line one day. I know it in my heart and soul, So, man.
Yeah. I mean, you said it right there. Like, what's the point of gaining the whole world if you lose your soul in doing it? Like, and what you're doing now is you're helping a lot of people out, and that's the best thing you can do with your life,
Dude, I go back to these quotes. Look at these quotes I put out last night as I was going to bed. It said, "Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great. Some achieve greatness. Others have greatness thrust upon them." William Shakespeare. Keep away from people who try to battle your ambitions, who belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel that you too can become great. Mark Twain. You only become great at the thing that you're willing to sacrifice for. That hits me so hard because I understand it in my heart of hearts, because it's like, wow, that was powerful. The starting place for your greatness is desire. The desire to succeed, to serve others, to keep on going no matter what, whoever renders service to many puts himself in line for greatness, great wealth, great return, great satisfaction, great reputation, and great joy. Creativity means believing you have greatness. Never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of the human spirit. We are all the same in this notion. The potential for greatness lives within each of us. Like, I cry out of joy. My emotions are strong, and a lot of people don't understand me fully because they might not be able to go through the span of emotions that I can, and it's just something that I have. But it's like, those quotes are so beautiful to me. And too much lately, the news and everything else, there's too much negativity on the American people, on the world. I think us coming out today and just talking crypto and talking positive is important. It's what people need. There's too much Clake bitter YouTubers. Lately, YouTube's been horrible. Like, Bitcoin's going up, Bitcoin's going down. Like if you're watching some of the main channels, it's been like, it was stress you.
Dude,
The
I was
clickbait.
just talking about that earlier today with someone else. I was like, literally, it's like one day it's to the moon, the next day.
I know exactly who we're talking about.
Insane.
Oh my god,
dude. But I mean, yeah, like I feel you, because when you go through like difficulty in life, and I think everybody goes through difficulties at some time, it like really sensitizes you to certain aspects of it, and to be able to get through it and then realize that you can get through it, and then when you can see other people going through it and you're able to help them get through it, it really makes a difference. And I like your quote about service, because one of my favorite books is The Magic of Thinking Big, and I read that thing over and over again. And I think the last sentence in the book says, put service first, and then money will take care of itself.
it really will though. Like that's the key. That's the key. There's a restaurant I like to go to near my house. The guys, he puts way more effort into the food than anyone around my neighborhood. Like, so I'd much rather give him my money than anywhere else. Like, I'm gonna take my wife there at the end of this interview, and we're having, because he deserves it, man. He plates it right. He has a special every day. Like, the guy's he is the crypto love of food, man. Like, he's doing it. He's doing it high frequency. I truly believe there's a frequency on people that are resonating at a higher vibration, and it pulls those other people towards you. Think about it. You're 70% water, right? Like, so like I'm literally sitting talking to a vibrating freaking fluid of water right now.
Dude,
right?
And we're all stardust, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I wanted to ask you this question. I woke up at 4 in the morning. When I went to bed at 4 in the morning today, which most people are like, how are you awake right now? But don't worry about it. I have ADHD. Hyper. Well, I don't like to use labels. I have a lot of energy. I wanted to ask you, can you tell us one or two memories between the ages of 7 and 15, okay, that you can still remember now, that you either go back to or you've referenced, and maybe not those exact times, but somewhere that kind of made you, like, you think about them now and you're like, oh yeah, like I used that, or that was a good point, or, I met that old dude at the barbershop and he did say that to me, or whatever. I don't know what it's going to be, and I may have put you on the spot and trying to go through your Rolodex. I know.
I think one thing that really stands out for me is I used to be a Boy Scout, and we would do all types of fun stuff, and there was so like at least once or twice a month we would do these service projects where we'd go out and fix up the community, different things like that. And I remember distinctly there was this one cemetery that we were cleaning up, and it was like we were there all day, and it was like really really hard work, and I was just like aching all over. I was a young kid, but I was like aching all over from raking and like cleaning up leaves and pulling weeds and all this stuff. And like the whole day, it was like the hardest day I ever remember. But I remember going home that evening and feeling the best I've ever felt in my life. And just like, I think that association for me, like seeing that like service, doing good for others, giving to others has a benefit, like a benefit beyond what anything else you can even get. I think that was definitely a very distinctive memory.
It's what I hate to bring up God because some people aren't there yet. And then because I wasn't there, I wasn't fully into God. And when people were like, on God, I would just kind of like, I would tend to tune out. And so I don't want people to tune out that like are just not like fully engrossed yet. And I don't want to sound like a charlatan because there's also too many of those people that are like, just, oh God, yeah, you know. But I do know like there's some frequency when I tap into it, and there's nothing better. When I finish a tutoring session, I started the beginners tutoring sessions. They're Tuesdays from 3 to 5. And I'm plugging my business now, but Tuesdays from 3 to 5. And it's amazing to see the 7 people together, because when we're together, there is even more of like a download. And then they ask questions at the end in the Q&A. And I love it. Like, I love it. There's nothing. When I started doing the tutoring, and my wife would said the tutoring's draining you. She said you charge $100 an hour. She's like, some days you do 5. She said then you can't make YouTube videos about like a price prediction on XRP, and then you can't grow the channel, and then you don't grow the Patreon. So she's like, as much as you love tutoring these people, she's like, you're gonna stifle your business soon, you know. She's like, I'm gonna have to, and I was like, but I love it. And she's like, we're gonna find a way to balance it for you, where you can do it. She's like, I'm gonna make a class for you, and she explained this to me. She's like, and you're gonna do it, and you're gonna make more money an hour, but you're gonna be able to help more people. And she's like, and you're gonna have more time to work on your channel, and you're gonna be, and this is gonna work. And she's like, and this is what you need. And so it's so good to have someone in my life to help me stay organized. And but I was like, no, I just want to keep tutoring because I was getting so much out of it. And I was trying to tell her, like, I would say an hour and a half goes by. She's sitting next to my computer. She's like, and I'm like, but I love the tutoring. Like, I love the act of being there with that person and sharing my knowledge with them. It's just, it's awesome.
You got the mastermind going on with that group of people from Think and Grow Rich. You get a bunch of people together, definitely better than the sum of the parts.
It does. It works. Yeah. Yeah. What is your thoughts on cryptocurrency and space travel? And have you given any thought to that and the intertwining of the two? And do you see yourself ever leaving this planet, even just on a trip? Or, do you think that's something you'll ever do in your lifetime? Would you go to the moon, so to speak?
Would I go to the moon?
Or Mars?
Yeah, I haven't given it much thought. They're like cryptocurrency. I mean, I guess probably one of the most influential people in cryptocurrency is also one of the space barons. So I guess there's that connection. And but yeah,
a space baron. I like how you said that, like oil barons.
That's what they are. Him, Jeff Bezos,
baron.
They're the space barons, man.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Richard.
Yeah, the Virgin. Yeah.
Those are the 3 space barons right now. But I don't know. I think that going to space is really important, but I also think there's a lot of issues here. And so I'd like to kind of focus on things that I have control over a bit more. So I realize that the biggest impact I can make in the world is by trying to be the best person that I can be. So like that's where my focus is personally. I don't have like a draw into going into space. Like I don't. I've been in an airplane. Like I've been in the air, and it wasn't any different than being here on Earth. And I've traveled all over the world, and everywhere I go, there I am. So I don't expect too much from space. It would be cool to like not have gravity, but you can go on one of those planes that does that. So cryptocurrency in space. Oof. I don't know. How do
Isn't
you?
there cryptocurrency in space already? Didn't they send some Dogecoin up on a thing?
I guess Dogecoin to the moon.
There's some satellite up and around there, right? Everyone, we're gonna probably run it down. He's busy, dude. Gotta go. But any questions in the we have a lot of. I usually read a lot more of the comments. Comments were coming in a lot throughout this, but
well, let's give it like 10 minutes for questions.
Yeah, any additional questions and add-ons here. Sam looks like crypto love now, just shaking his head. Oh yeah, I'm the guy doing that. It's funny. Well, because he's in this screen and I want to look at him, but it doesn't look right if I don't look at the camera. So he's teaching me. He's also teaching me these things. Like, so the whole time I've been staring at the camera, but I do want to see his face and see. So I glance down at him every once in a while and get a feeling of what he's saying and how he looks, so I can get that conversational feel, right? Like as if you're.
So next time, get one of those the like cell phone holders for your car and put it right next to the camera on top of your computer and just show the live stream. Then
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I got my phone right here.
I got an iPad too, right there.
I can see it. Yeah.
And then put it up there and kind of, and now you're like.
Put it up there right next to the camera, so then you're looking at.
See, guys, this is why I won't ruin my interviews anymore like this. Yeah. Awesome.
And it also, I mean, yeah. That way you can look like you're looking at them.
This one should be better, but but I mean, we showed you how I long the bottom. We threw some TA in there, some life advice, gave my life story again, my ups and downs, struggles, kind of shared my ideas. Crypto Love also kind of went into the past there a little bit and gave us a little, and we went over just like the frequency of life, and that's another thing. Perfect point here as we wait for some stuff to come in. Much love, lifers. Where are you, lifer? That room is dope. The money's coming. Appreciate you, Crypto Love. Hadouken, man. Bitcoin 10-year target. Henry Cateras. Interesting.
Dude, I think the 10-year, like, put Bitcoin on a long time frame, you can't even comprehend the price it'll be. Like,
I'm saying guaranteed over 5 million by 2030, without a doubt in my mind. Like without a doubt in my mind, over 5 million by 2030. But hey, that's, I have a question to you guys. When and how to get off the trade? When to take profits? And how and when to move the stop loss up in the profits? Well, again, number one, you should have your trade planned out before you get into it. That question lets me know you probably got into a trade and now you're not sure where to get out of it because you didn't plan the trade. So, number one, you want to plan the trade. Crypto Love, anything you want to say there?
Yeah, I think kind of on a longer term type of thing, because I've been questioning this myself as well with kind of we don't know, I mean, really where the market's going, with what's going to happen with the financial markets and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so I still don't have a great answer for myself, because I just try and look at people who I think are better with money than I am. And so one of them in particular who kind of gave the answer that he has right now is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he says, stock market crash is coming. So stocks are very risky. He says he has cash, and he says he also trusts Bitcoin, Ethereum, and gold and silver. And he's not selling any of those, but he also has cash for when the crash comes, because that's how you get richer. So I look at that and I say, well, taking profits is great, because here I still have some PTSD from the 2018, 2019, 2020 bear market. Like, my portfolio went down 90%, and fortunately it's come back like much higher, but it's still, it's still always something that's there. And so I guess figuring out what your individual situation is, because you don't want to, like, there's a possibility if everything were to go down significantly, would that leave you exposed? Like, would you have tens of thousands of dollars of taxes that you'd have to pay on it? Like, would you be able to provide for yourself for the next few months? So, like, trying to figure out these things. And I think that's helpful to determine, when to take profits, because nobody knows where it's going to go. Like,
well, that's my issue. Like, I put in some Cardano in November. I opened heavy bags November 20th, December 26th, like, and I was up huge, and I didn't take the profit because it was they were going to be short-term gain, right? And I was like, man, I'm gonna have to give almost half of this away, so because I do the right thing and I do want to pay all my taxes, you know, and because you don't want to. I want to go to bed at night. That's really what it comes down to, and my freedom is worth more than the money. So they can take all the money. I'd rather have my time on this earth than be able to go outside and go sailing and breathe the air. It's just way more important to me. So I don't think I'll ever have that issue because I'll never choose the money over my own feeling, right? So, and that's what got me here in the first place, right? The other thing is if the market crashes and then so like I'm waiting on like, do you take the short-term gains or do you try to squeeze it out to get the long-term capital gain? I'm gonna have to pay 17% for now until, you know, they have their way with us in 2023 and 4. It looks like they're gonna just slam guys like us who are gonna make a killing in the market. So I'm always in between. My idea is this: I never went broke taking profits. You know, and I think what he's asking too is watch the 1 hour chart. You know, stick to your time frame. I stick to a time frame. Literally, if I get in on the daily chart, I get out when the daily stochastics get extended. Like if I get on the weekly chart, I get out when the weekly stochastics get if I get in on the 4 hour chart, I get in when the 4 hour chart is like, you know. And also cool, this is a really cool tip, anyone who's new or just watching today. If I trade the daily, I enter on the 4 hour. I make sure the daily's low, and then I make sure the stochastics on the 4 hour are low, and then I get in. I know it's a daily trade, but I just use the time frame ahead of time because I've learned if I didn't do that, a lot of times the daily was low, I got in, but the 4 hour stokes were high, and then the price went down a lot, and then like you either get stopped out or have to watch your position kind of filter. You're still right, like you got a low daily stoke, but you didn't perfect the buy by looking at a smaller time frame to be more precise. If I'm trading the 4 hour, I get in on the 1 hour. If I'm trading the 1 hour, I get in on the 15 minute. If I trade the 15 minute, I get in on like the 5 minute or the 7 minute. If I trade the 7 minute, I get in on the 1 minute. It's just like, you know, and I've back tested this theory and used it to my advantage, and it works really, really well. Right now, I'm killing the 1 hour and the 15 minute. Using them in conjunction, I found a really good way to be very accurate with a 70% of the patterns filled. So I project the pattern before it's so like let's look at the pattern that I created at the beginning of the show. This is what I love to do too. This is why I love my live stream. We start my live stream and I usually find some type of pattern or projection, and then by the end of the live, 60 to 80% of the time, like about 80% of the time, it's feeling like the actual projection is playing out in real time. Like one guy attacking me last week, you shorted and you were wrong, and I'm like, yeah, and I said, yeah, I was wrong. Like I shorted 43,000, you know, the other day, and it was like a 1 hour short. I was just trying to it was a tiny little idea, and I was like, yeah, I was like, if I won every trade on my YouTube channel, I'd be a liar. I said, so thank God one of them didn't go right, so you guys can see that I'm not, you know, that's trading for a living. Like you're not gonna win every trade. So like he tried to bash me, but I just took it as a learning, as a time to learn, you know. So look, I made this here. Ooh, oh man, sorry. The new operating system like will disappear all your windows. So I made this here, right? We charted this, and if you go to like the 15 minute, you'll see it's filling my flag now. And now I start changing the flag. See, at first I didn't know. I just threw it out there. Now I perfect the flag. Now I know the pattern way before everybody else because I already started building it before it started. And so now I'm going to follow this flag, and now I know, okay, here's the trajectory of the flag. It's kind of making a falling wedge. And so that the 15 minutes ready to go, probably oscillate. This could actually pop. Like I've seen this break out. 15 minute there's a chance. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but there's a chance there that does break. You look at the 1 hour, and what could happen here is the 1 hour could do a double top right now on the Stokes. I'm also really good at figuring out the double tops and like playing, because the Stokes can sometimes double top and sometimes not. And it's not easy to figure that out. You got to play with that. I've gotten accustomed to figuring that out and using these, and it's because I'm looking at this projection beforehand. And so now and then I also use my support and resistance lines. Like, do we hold 46,700? That looks like a pretty good place where we wicked off of. So if we hold that level, you know, highly likely we do eventually break up and try to test 48,700. If we don't, We still into the wedge, and then you just look for your next point of, contact, which is about 45.7, right? Pretty simple what you do. You make lines of support and resistance, you draw patterns, and you play with the stochastics. And like we said at the beginning, you do the same things over and over again, right? That's what I do every single day, all day long. Every 5 hours, I'm checking on a projected pattern and seeing how it filled out. If it filled out, then it's highly likely my idea is going to play out. And that's actualization in my reality. I'm pushing the future into, it's kind of like what you do on YouTube. Like, you created your own lifestyle, and there's Bitcoin at 47,200. If I see it pop in the next few minutes, because the 15 minutes super low and wants to pop, and then the 1 hour will do the double top. So like, if in the next hour you see Bitcoin pop, you're gonna be like, this guy's pretty accurate. But it's because of the system that I use that's accurate. It's not me that's being accurate. I actually think it's popping right now as we speak. Bitcoin's breaking out. Like, and I'm good at this. Like, I'm good at what? Look, it's breaking out. Like that. If that keeps popping, like, that's breaking out of this tiny flag. Then you go to the 7 minute and take a look at it. That's a breakout. Like, clearly, that's a breakout. That's breaching. That's breaching. And there's a measured move on this already. So if you see Bitcoin up here at 50,700 or at 49,000 later on today, it's because my system, and then I say anything is possible, and I don't know anything. It could crash right now and go to 30K. I don't tell anyone I know what's happening. I just trade with the probability of my system over and over again. Look, 47,350. I just called this breakout right now. Like, you could have even leverage traded this. You shouldn't, but like 47,400. I saw this breakout occurring on the 15 minute. Based on my system, I knew when those stokes are low, we get a pop. That my system playing out live on our interview. And that's what I love about my channel is I go live so much that you can see what I'm teaching in real time. There's nothing to hide here. I don't make one video. There's nothing for me to hide. Like, everyone can see exactly how I operate and what I do. My Patreon is just if you want to get even closer and take it to that next level and be around a group of people that will change your life, because I truly believe being around people that are of high frequency will make you high frequency. It's just that simple, right? Mm-hmm. So, amen. Yeah. So he wants to know when to take profit. You always take profit whenever you get away from the 21-day moving average right there. That's when you take profit, And then you draw your pattern again and wait for the pattern to reform and get back in when the stokes are low. And I just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And every once in a while, there'll be a day where the stokes are middle and you can't figure it out. And that happens. But literally, there's like 4 days out of the month where I can't figure out Bitcoin. But usually, this is what I do. I slap it in this. If it fits the plan, and I figure this out. It's crazy. I figured this out. Like, no one taught me this either. This is like, it's pattern projecting with the stochastics. I don't even know what to call it. It's been playing out so well. It's crazy. Yeah.
So everybody should check out your Patreon channel.
Should definitely check it out. I think you'll learn a lot, and I'm in that room 10 hours a day. I put in, like he said, like the magician said, like, I'm here because of you. And I know that. And I'll put in 110%. And $100 to me is a lot of money that you're spending a month. And I'm going to work very, very hard to make sure that, you earn it back in education and in your own way. Yeah.
Amen. Well, dude, thanks for having me on again. It's been a pleasure.
We got to do I want to travel the world one day and then come find you somehow, wherever you are on Mars or Venus or or the moon.
I was gonna say Uranus, but that would have just
Uranus. We had to finish it off with a crypto love joke. We had to finish it off with a crypto love joke. It's only the way. It's only the way. It's only the way. But thank you so much, man, from the bottom of my heart. You're the man. My pleasure.
Always a lot of fun.
Just one last thing to leave with us. One last thing. I always have to put you on the spot. What is just a message for today? Any last thing you want to say?
I guess that's a tough one. I was gonna say believe in yourself, have faith, buy Bitcoin, and also don't.
That's great.
Don't FOMO, something like that.
Don't do stupid things.
Yeah, please.
You know?
Yeah.
And don't trade leverage. That's my idea. But
Yeah, that is just risky, asking for trouble.
thank you so much for the chats. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the super chats. 164 people watching. Awesome. 1,331 playbacks already. Average view time was about 9 minutes. Amazing. That's pretty damn good.
Heck yeah.
Appreciate each and every one of you. Jump into the rooms. I think I may go live later tonight just to do what I usually do and play with the charts and have fun. But I'll be doing some live updates for the Patreon, and I'll see you all. Have a wonderful Friday. Thank you so much for being here, and peace. All right, we're offline.